The United States doesn't stand alone on the world stage, far from it. While America is often seen as the global superpower leading the charge in diplomacy, defense, and economics, there are key nations that have consistently stood by its side through thick and thin. These alliances aren't just about shared interests. They're built on decades of trust, military cooperation, economic partnerships, and cultural ties. So, which countries have America's back the most? And why does their support matter so much? Let's break it down. The U.S. has cultivated relationships with nations across every continent, but some go above and beyond in their alignment with American policies, defense strategies, and economic goals. These countries don't just cooperate, they actively champion U.S. leadership, invest in joint security, and often side with Washington even when it's politically difficult. Support for America isn't just about military alliances like NATO or trade deals. It's about diplomatic solidarity, intelligence sharing, and standing together in international forums like the United Nations. Some nations have even faced backlash from rivals like China or Russia for their close ties to the U.S., yet they continue to prioritize the partnership. So who are these steadfast allies, and what makes their bond with America so unshakable? United Kingdom, America's oldest and most loyal ally. If there's one country that has stood with the U.S. through almost every major conflict, it's the United Kingdom. The special relationship between the U.S. and U.K. isn't just a diplomatic term. It's a bond forged in war, solidified in intelligence cooperation, and strengthened by deep cultural and economic ties. From World War II, where British resilience and American industrial power turned the tide against fascism, to the Cold War, where both nations stood firm against Soviet expansion, the UK has been America's most reliable partner. Even today, British forces fight alongside American troops in global operations, and intelligence agencies like MI6 and the CIA share critical information to combat terrorism and cyber threats. Politically, the UK has often been the first to back U.S. initiatives, even when controversial. Whether it was supporting the Iraq War in 2003 or standing with the U.S. against Russian aggression in Ukraine, Britain has rarely wavered. Economically, the U.S. and U.K. are each other's largest foreign investors, with billions flowing between Wall Street and London's financial district. But it's not just about governments. The people-to-people connections run deep. Hollywood and British media collaborate constantly, and millions of Americans trace their ancestry back to the British Isles. This isn't just an alliance. It's a family bond that has endured for centuries. Canada, America's closest neighbor and unshakable partner. Sharing the world's longest undefended border, the U.S. and Canada aren't just neighbors, they're inseparable allies. Canada's support for America is often understated, but it's one of the most dependable relationships the U.S. has. Militarily, Canada is a key NATO member and has fought alongside the U.S. in nearly every major conflict since World War I. From the beaches of Normandy to the mountains of Afghanistan, Canadian troops have stood shoulder to shoulder with American soldiers. The North American Aerospace Defense Command, NORAD, is a testament to this partnership, jointly defending the airspace of both nations since the Cold War. Economically, the U.S. and Canada have the largest bilateral trade relationship in the world. Over $2 billion in goods and services cross the border every day, supporting millions of jobs on both sides. The auto industry, energy sector, and tech markets are deeply integrated. What benefits one often benefits the other. Culturally, Canadians and Americans share so much that the lines often blur. From music and film to sports and cuisine, the two nations influence each other constantly. Even when political disagreements arise, like over trade policies or environmental regulations, the underlying friendship remains unbroken. Israel, America's most passionate Middle Eastern ally. When it comes to unwavering support in a volatile region, Israel stands out as one of America's most committed allies. The U.S.-Israel relationship is unique, rooted in shared democratic values, strategic interests, and strong lobbying influence in Washington. Since its founding in 1948, Israel has relied on U.S. military aid, intelligence sharing, and diplomatic backing. In return, Israel has been a key strategic partner in the Middle East, providing critical counterterrorism expertise and acting as a bulwark against hostile regimes like Iran. The two nations collaborate on cutting-edge military technology, including missile defense systems like the Iron Dome, which has saved countless lives from rocket attacks. Politically, Israel enjoys bipartisan support in the U.S., with Congress consistently approving military aid packages and defending Israel in international forums. Even when tensions arise, such as over settlement expansions or peace negotiations, the fundamental alliance remains intact. Beyond geopolitics, the cultural and religious ties between the U.S. and Israel run deep. Millions of American Jews see Israel as a homeland, and Christian evangelicals view the nation as biblically significant. This emotional connection ensures that, no matter the administration, America's support for Israel remains strong. Japan, America's key Asian anchor. After World War II, Japan transformed from a defeated enemy into one of America's most crucial allies. Today, the U.S.-Japan alliance is the cornerstone of stability in East Asia, countering threats from China, North Korea, and regional instability. The U.S. maintains major military bases in Japan, including Okinawa, which serve as forward operating hubs in the Pacific. In return, Japan hosts American troops and collaborates closely on defense strategies. The two nations regularly conduct joint military exercises, ensuring readiness against potential threats. Economically, Japan is one of America's largest trading partners. From Toyota and Sony to cutting-edge tech collaborations in AI and robotics, Japanese innovation and American markets complement each other perfectly. When China's rise began challenging U.S. influence in Asia, Japan doubled down on its alliance with Washington, even joining initiatives like the Quad with Australia and India to counterbalance Beijing. Culturally, Japan's influence on America is everywhere, from sushi and anime to martial arts and video games. The mutual respect between the two nations ensures that, despite historical tensions, the partnership only grows stronger with time. Australia, America's Pacific bulwark. When the U.S. needs a dependable ally in the Pacific, Australia answers the call without hesitation. The ANZUS Treaty binds the two nations in a military alliance that has endured for over 70 years, through wars in Korea, Vietnam, Iraq, and Afghanistan. Australian troops have fought alongside Americans in every major conflict since World War II, earning a reputation for toughness and loyalty. The intelligence-sharing partnership between the U.S. and Australia, part of the Five Eyes Alliance, is among the most secure in the world, tracking global threats from terrorism to cyber warfare. Strategically, Australia's location makes it indispensable for U.S. interests in the Indo-Pacific. As China expands its influence, Australia has taken a firm stand alongside America, even at the cost of economic retaliation from Beijing. The AUKUS Pact, which will provide Australia with nuclear-powered submarines, is the latest example of how deeply the two nations trust each other in defense matters. Beyond security, Americans and Australians share a cultural bond, similar language, love of sports, and a rugged individualism that makes the friendship feel natural. Whether it's Hollywood films starring Aussie actors or American tourists flocking to the Great Barrier Reef, the connection is undeniable. Germany, America's pillar in Europe. Despite occasional political friction, Germany remains one of America's most vital allies in Europe. As the economic powerhouse of the EU, Germany's alignment with U.S. policies shapes the entire continent's direction. After World War II, the U.S. helped rebuild West Germany, and the Marshall Plan laid the foundation for a lasting partnership. During the Cold War, West Germany was the front line against Soviet expansion, hosting U.S. troops and nuclear weapons as a deterrent. Even after reunification, Germany stayed a key NATO member, contributing to missions in the Balkans, Afghanistan, and now defending Eastern Europe against Russian aggression. Economically, Germany and the U.S. are deeply intertwined. German companies like BMW, Volkswagen, and Siemens employ thousands of Americans, while U.S. tech giants like Apple and Google dominate the German market. When it comes to sanctions against Russia or confronting China's trade practices, Germany has largely stood with Washington despite some internal disagreements. Culturally, German influence in America is everywhere. From Oktoberfest celebrations to the millions of Americans with German ancestry. Even when leaders like Angela Merkel clashed with U.S. presidents over issues like climate change or Iran, the underlying alliance never truly wavered.